How do we shift sibling relationships that have outgrown the growing up storyline to being a chosen family relationship? Yeah, so this one's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I think our growing up years is so important to our journey to really understand, like, what is it that we learned about how to be in relationship with other people, because we get a lot of that from our parents, of course, but also our siblings. Our siblings teach us a lot of things. Some of them are not so good and some of them are great, right? Maybe you have a sister that you're like, wow, like we are just best friends. And that gave you a foundation of trust and relationship. And maybe that helps you to have other really good female friends. Maybe it's the opposite. Or maybe you have a great relationship with your brother, and that's allowed you to see how you can have also good relationships in your own relationships with men in general, because you don't have a fear of that masculine energy, or the opposite, where something really bad has happened and you have a fear of the masculine energy that you're not even sure that you know about. Okay, so the question was very specifically about the growing up storyline, right? So those are all the storylines to being a chosen family relationship. We've all come in with soul contracts with others in our life. And so you chose that brother, you chose that sister. As crazy as you think they may be, I know, like, why would I choose that? That's always the question, isn't it? Why would I choose that? And you choose it because you want to learn a deep, deep lesson from it. And I know that you know this. The triggers, the things that you go, wow, that just, like really went through the heart. Those things are the juicy bits. And you have to get into your own trigger and stop focusing on them. Stop focusing on when they do that, it makes me feel, like, get to the it makes me feel part, but then know, like, what part of myself do I need to heal so that they're not even interested in throwing that dagger to me. And or when they do, I just go, phew, yeah, like let it go, right? As opposed to like, hit me here. And it's kind of like in the movie The Matrix, where he's, at the one of the final scenes, he's like going like this, like, let me just, it's kind of like that in a way, in a funny way, that we just eventually are just like gently moving, like gently allowing everything to just flow by. And when the response stimulus doesn't go back to your sibling, then either their behavior starts to change and your relationship starts to change, or they just start to step away and maybe you spend less time with them. Maybe you get fewer phone calls. Maybe you just get fewer daggers because they're just not getting, or maybe you get an incredibly healed relationship with them. And then they start realizing, oh, I guess that's me angry with myself and I'm just projecting it onto you. But the trick is, as you know, like, you cannot say to someone, this is you and your shit and you need to do it. No, it's like everybody's on their own journey and you got to go within yourself, and then you have to let them go within themselves in their timeline. And that sometimes for a lot of awakened beings is the most difficult, because we're like, no, I've got the toolbox. I know how, I want to show you, I want to help you, let's do this together. And sometimes the together part is not going to happen. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't, because they're on a different journey. They're on a different way of coming to it. That, like with kids, a lot of times you've taught them something year after year after year, and like they don't think that it's cool or makes sense until some complete stranger says this to them. They're like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. It's kind of like that too, right? Where sometimes we just have to hear things from someone else that's not in our family system. I so appreciate all the questions that you ask and submit each week. You can always go to bethbell.me/question and submit them in advance. You can put them live in the comments section. I always love to receive them. You can go to bethbell.me and do the state of the heart assessment, because the heart is really where the juice is. It gets us back to love. It gets us to understand the fears that we have, and we want to be in life with a whole heart. So go to bethbell.me, do the state of the heart assessment. You're going to find that the answers are very specific to how you respond to the questions in the assessment. There's also the Awakening and Healing Handbook, which is just jam-packed with lots of juicy nuggets, lots of tips, tools, techniques, modalities, and recommendations. Now, if you're someone who is looking to take your spiritual ascension journey to another level and you're open to spiritual medicines, there's also the Psychedelic Resource Guide. You or maybe someone you love is interested in exploring or knowing a little bit more about some of the options that are available, I highly recommend the guide. There's always the Herpes Handbook. Now, this one, I know everybody, herpes, but it's a great guide. It's a great guide for so many reasons. And even if you do not have herpes, you may know someone that does. And it's helping people to get over the viruses of the mind. So it goes beyond just herpes. So you should check that out on bethbell.me as well. And every week I'm here on Sundays at 11:11 Pacific time. I love that you're here with me. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to having you again next week at 11:11 Pacific time. Until then, wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.